How does Lightspark and Spark fit in when you can just issue one in minutes?
So I think people, when they look at the stablecoin landscape, they're often not thinking through what will it look like in 5 years. I think in 5 years we're gonna go from two dominant players, actually one mostly, with most of the market cap and liquidity, to probably over a dozen relevant stablecoins. Every other day, there's a neobank or exchange or fintech issuing their own coin. So all those coins will be competing. Liquidity will get a lot more fragmented. And to be honest, I think the end state is one where these stablecoins will fade into the background. We'll just think of them as, digital, fast, programmable dollars or euros or pounds. And in fact, domestic stables, I think will make a big comeback. Today, most of the stablecoin supply is denominated in dollars, but we will need these domestic stablecoins for all sort of new use cases. As that happens, and as the stablecoin market gets more fragmented, people will need to cross between them, right? So a payment on neobank A stablecoin will need to land on neobank B. And definitely those two will not want to use the competitor's stablecoin. As you play that out, I mean, there's only one asset that has established track record, established global liquidity, established adoption by global financial institutions, and that asset is Bitcoin. So we do believe that Bitcoin will be that connector between all these different payment networks, between these different stable coins. And of course, once you have stable coins of Bitcoin, which we're going to have really, really soon, all sort of DeFi Bitcoin application come into play. DeFi often requires, a stable coin because you want something that is not as volatile as Bitcoin to denominate a contract and everything else. As that happens, I think, people have a hard time spending their Bitcoin. People want to hold. And so collateralized lending, maybe it's an interesting application where I don't have to sell my Bitcoin, but I can borrow against it. That we haven't seen that today. We've only seen it mostly with wrapped assets, but wrapped assets, of course, are not the same as pure Bitcoin.
Right. So I want to switch gears a little bit here, Christian. I want to talk about the developers. I'm sure you know this even better than I do, but developers are notoriously picky. And so my question I want to ask is, which tools in your kit are you most excited about right now? What doors do they open that maybe weren't possible before?
I would say, look, this was our frustration in the first 2 years of Lightspark. Building on Bitcoin was really hard. Even when we tried to make the onboarding experience easier, Lightning channels, abstractions, liquidity on the fly, and all these things, it was still very cumbersome to be on Lightning. And so only the world's largest exchanges and neobanks and players could be on Lightning. But with Spark today, and Leo is leading our efforts on that project as being really thoughtful on this, we want a user experience that's as simple as what people are used to in kind of Web 2. So you can, build a Spark wallet probably in a day. You can use some of our partners like Privy that provide great wallet infrastructure. You can build it yourself. You have lots of options. But the barriers to building an app or creating something truly novel is so low. It's kind of day and night. So the part that we're most excited about Spark, I think it's not only bringing it to billions of users, but also ensuring that developers can come up with the next killer app with only a few lines of code. And, the audience will be the arbiter of that, but we're working really, really hard to make the experience for developers on Spark super easy and super enjoyable.
I love that. And I would love to get to, it's always nice hearing how the tech is supposed to work, but it's a different thing to learn about how it actually worked, maybe from a use case or from an example that you've experienced over your career. Do you have any stories or examples of clients who went from clunky, fee-ridden payments to instant settlement with Lightspark? And if so, what did their reaction look like in that moment?
Quite a few. I mean, starting with just Lightning, right? So when Coinbase rolled out Lightning, it was the fastest rollout of an L2 that they had seen. So reaching 15% of all of their transactions, shifting them over from L1 Bitcoin to Lightning happened in about a year. That was very rewarding for our engineering team that have worked really, really hard to deliver that solution. And just knowing that every day people move Bitcoin in tiny, tiny increments or larger ones, we can support any amount through that integration is of course, something that we're proud of. Next, I would say seeing the first payment going cross-border between, say, a Pix balance in Brazil to a Chase or BOA or whatever bank account in the United States in real time. And people seeing that money transfer and not even realizing, okay, we just went from the clunky old rails to Bitcoin, and now we're back to the clunky old rails in a way that feels native to a fintech experience. I think that was a really important moment, and we're excited to scale that with SoFi across the globe in a number of corridors. And last, with Spark, and again, for Spark, we're super early days, but the developer response and the ecosystem response has been amazing.